Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. My warship can be upgraded. This is an interstellar era of a giant ship galaxy. A special spark warship that can regularly enter different spaces, harvest source points, and strengthen itself. Wang Dong travels here with an auxiliary system. The scan function allows you to clearly see the growth qualifications of a warship and select the most perfect seat ship. The double source point acquisition function allows warships to obtain 3, 5, or even 100 times the source points of others. The module feature selection function can turn randomly occurring features into arbitrary selections. See how Wang Dong utilizes auxiliary systems to navigate freely in this interstellar era. Control the most powerful warship and smooth out all disobedience. Explore the endless universe and challenge the infinite unknowns. P.S. This book has fewer forced facial movements. In the early stage, the development is lewd, and in the middle stage, exploration is the main focus. In the later stage, it is crushed. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Listing comments, subscription required. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Stumbling all the way, this book is also about to be put on shelves. To be honest, the grades are not ideal. I knew science fiction was a subcategory, and battleship literature was even more so. Combined with personal writing habits, it may be more detailed and the pace may not be as tight. Therefore, I myself am not unable to accept the current performance. The giant ship Star River is my dream. However, using love to generate electricity is something that can be persisted for a month or two. It is really unrealistic to persist for a long time. The outline of this book is 12 volumes, and the first volume has been completed with a word count of slightly over 220,000. That is to say, the current plot progression is only about half of the first volume. The requirements are not high. As long as there are 200 brothers subscribing, I can write this book in its entirety. A person's persistence is really helpless. A dream requires everyone's persistence to be realized. I believe that most of the brothers who pursue this book also have the dream of such a giant ship, the Star River. Can you sincerely invite me to persevere with you? I hope everyone can swim with Wang Dong in this colorful era of giant ships and stars. Take a look at where he will ultimately go. I hope this is a long journey. The more subscriptions, the longer. It's not selling badly, it's just a feeling of not being recognized and uncomfortable. The brothers who have been following me all know that I am a street thug and rarely ask for flowers or rewards. This time, I would like to solemnly request a subscription. This is the most intuitive manifestation of the value of this book. It's also everyone's recognition of me and this dream. No one doesn't need to agree. Not much nonsense. Bow and step down. On the first day, it should be 10 to 20,000 words or more. Next, there will be 10 days of daily updates, and the subsequent updates will be determined by the grades. After the first volume is completed, starting from the second volume, I will try to speed up the progression of the plot. Please support us, thank you. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. 9.21 Fresh Flower Update Preview. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I have some thoughts, but I don't want to express myself. Brothers, you can tell by the chapter names in this book. From the beginning, I hardly ever asked for flowers, monthly passes, or anything like that. Because self-awareness is a niche book, mainly focused on fulfilling dreams. The pace is so slow, it completely does not conform to the common style of Feilu. Talking about grades, hee. But writing a book also comes at a cost. Old Han, I stand tall after the passing of the year, with both old and young, which is the most difficult time for a man. Writing books takes up all my spare time after work. The elderly at home are okay and still able to take care of themselves. But children can't. 2 children. Daily shuttle to and from school, and evening shuttle to and from various interest classes. There are also household chores and so on. These are all responsibilities that old Han should bear. Since starting to write the book, these responsibilities have been borne by a virtuous wife. Old Han is not young, unlike when he was not yet married, he had the capital to be capricious. Generating electricity for love is too heavy for a middle-aged man. So, this book actually has some academic pressure. As of now, with the support of a group of close friends and book enthusiasts, the performance of this book has still reached the standard line. A daily income of several tens of yuan can be explained to my wife. At least it proves that Lao Han is not simply evading family responsibilities, but generating power for love. But also making contributions to the family. But just a few days ago, on the 18th, I accidentally discovered that this book ranked in the top 10 on the science fiction category flower list. This is something that Lao Han never expected. Moreover, what was even more surprising was that on the morning of the 19th, when opening the writer backend of the website, Lao Han found that the daily income on the 18th had reached 100 yuan. This indicates that the flowers, which have never been valued by Lao Han, have such a significant effect. A new writer who doesn't understand things is really too much. So, in the updated chapter titles on the 19th, Lao Han begged for a wave of flowers. Here, I want to sincerely thank my brothers. Really, in 2 days, more than 30,000 flowers rose. How could he be so grateful? Adding more is necessary. Otherwise, there is no way to express Lao Han's gratitude. This is everyone's credit, with added benefits for everyone to share. However, it seems that several influential book enthusiasts threw large amounts of flowers in one breath. I still want to thank you separately. I hope that big book enthusiasts will not do good deeds without leaving a name. Shout in the comments section, Lao Han, I have over 10,000 flowers left here, you see what to do. Everyone, look, I will add more chapters to the title later so that I can write for the addition of a certain flower big shot. Is that right? Also, it's about saving manuscripts. At present, there are only 100,000 words left in the manuscript. Very insecure. There are 2 purposes for saving manuscripts, one is to deal with emergencies. This goes without explanation, it's inevitable in both work and life. For example, this week, there were a lot of inspections and there was no energy to code words. The number of saved manuscripts has sharply decreased. Fortunately, the updates are still stable. Another purpose is to improve the quality of the book. There is a saved manuscript at the top for easy editing at any time. Especially when writing and suddenly discovering flaws in the front, it is easy to generate bugs, or it may cause the plot to collapse. Make modifications. Not to mention anything else, my book at least dares to say that the logic is relatively smooth and reading it is not awkward. Finally, some brothers find some chapters more watery. This pot, I'll carry it. But what needs to be explained still needs to be explained. A complete worldview is intertwined with many details. This kind of book won't be thin to read. Not so much that after reading it, one can only have one feeling throughout. The protagonist changed his style and pretended to face the villain. As for the rest, I have no impression at all. Lao Han hopes that the era of the giant ship Star River in my writing is an era that gives people a sense of immersion. After reading the book, looking back, there can be a concept. Perhaps in a parallel universe, there does exist an era of giant ships and rivers. Lao Han wouldn't intentionally go into the water. Because in this Star River era, there are so many things that I want to write about. Please be more patient, everyone. The pace may be a bit slow, but if it's too fast, what's the difference from many other books that peak on the shelves? Fast food, haven't everyone had enough yet? If you haven't eaten enough, you definitely won't come to see Lao Han's book long-winded and verbose. Stop and code the main text. Flowers and updates will be arranged in the next few days. waiting for the comments from the experts in the comments section. Thank you all for your support. Without you, this book really wouldn't last long. Bow, thank you. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. The First Flower Festival, 9.23. You are listening at novelfull.audio. To thank everyone for their support, this book is preparing to hold the First Flower Festival. Within today, for every 20,000 more flowers, add another chapter. As of 12 o'clock, there is no time to lose, no loss comes again. The current number of flowers is 200,000. I would like to add a chapter first as a tribute. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Emergencies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Temporarily transferred to support epidemic areas in other cities. Due to poor conditions, stable updates are temporarily unavailable. Wait until the conditions improve or after the support ends before resuming normal updates. At least 1 or 2 days, at most 1 week. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. A fake note from an epidemic area. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Strengthening the epidemic area, the task during the outbreak period is heavy, and updates cannot be guaranteed. Please take 2 days off Feilu's novel, Fei wants you to look good. Take 1 day off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The child has a fever, Feilu's novel, Fei wants you to look good. Suspected of being hit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Feeling cold and drowsy in the morning, suddenly feeling dazed may not be right. I took full protective measures and made a single tube return thermometer. It was around 38 o'clock. On the spot, I was surprised and received an antigen test, which was negative. Due to the unprofessional nature of home antigens, the final outcome cannot be determined. But the dizziness symptoms caused by fever are indeed quite serious. It's better to take a day off and stay in bed. Check your physical condition and nucleic acid test results before making a decision. If you don't get hit, everyone will be happy. If you are caught and cannot update in a timely manner, then take advantage of a hot topic and briefly describe your feelings and response measures every day, providing a reference for your brothers. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. On the first sunny day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Received a phone call in the morning confirming that it was a single tube positive. In fact, based on the situation of burning all day yesterday, this should be considered as a foregone conclusion. Now let's start sharing our first day's experience. I feel uncomfortable and afraid of the cold when I wake up in the morning. Then I went out to get a single tube nucleic acid test and bought breakfast. After returning home, I took a temperature gauge of 38.5 degrees. Immediately send away both the child and the elderly, leaving behind a wife. Go back to the master bedroom for isolation. All the medicine, food, and water are delivered to the door, and then bring your own mask to get them. Since there were no symptoms other than fever, I did not take medication randomly. I just drank a lot of water and then ate 2 types of fruits, cantaloupe and orange, in 2 separate portions. Lunch and dinner are both porridge, accompanied by easily digestible foods such as meat floss. I also ate vitamin C in the middle. I ate a pack of small chaihu granules before going to bed at night. It's really difficult to sleep well when you have a fever, and you wake up almost every hour at night. My whole body aches, my head also hurts, and I feel dizzy when walking. But it's not as uncomfortable as imagined, it's basically within the range of tolerability. My plan is to take fever-reducing medication if my body temperature exceeds 38.5 degrees. I took my temperature several times a night and it hovered around 38.4, so I didn't even use any fever-reducing medicine. By the next morning, which was around 7 o'clock this morning, I had self-taught that my temperature had dropped to 38 degrees. I feel pretty good. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. On the sunny second day. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. I had a high fever the day before yesterday and a low fever the day before yesterday. I thought it would be like this. The result may be due to a weak physical condition. This virus is a bit more troublesome than expected, and I will continue to have a low fever today. And there were also other symptoms, such as headaches and coughing. In the morning, pull open the curtains of the room to let the sunlight disinfect the bedroom. As a result, as soon as I was exposed to the sun, I would sweat. Obviously, it is due to physical weakness. I want to thank my wife for her patient care. Although she locked me in her room and didn't let me go out for a walk, she didn't give me any food, fruits, supplements, or medicine that she should have given me. It's just that every time I bring something in, I just open the door a little bit and then throw it directly on the floor, turning my head and running away. The feeling of disgust is really a bit. Share the recipe for the day. Breakfast was soybean milk meat buns, lunch was boxed lunch, and evening was a nutritious dinner of fish and sea cucumber soup. There are also nutritious fruits in the middle, 1 apple, 1 orange, all peeled and cut into pieces. There is also a glass of vitamin C effervescent tablets that won't be shaken. To sum up, based on current experience, it is not advisable to eat only a small amount of food like gastroenteritis or a common fever. But try to eat something nutritious but beneficial for digestion and absorption. After all, having a fever is a very physically demanding thing. After burning for 2 days, I feel like my small belly has shrunk a circle. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 1. Rebirth. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Carrying a battleship game assistance system with you, travel through an interstellar era represented by warships as the ultimate force. The interstellar era of the giant ship Milky Way can be considered the ultimate romance of men. Wang Dong believes that his journey through time has a beautiful beginning and a perfect ending. Unfortunately, his life only lasted for a short 34 years. At the age of 20, Wang Dong had an adventure and obtained a warship that could continuously evolve and grow. But also due to my lack of confidentiality in handling things and objective factors, I have caused a series of troubles. In the end, after obtaining the warship, Wang Dong was basically in a state of being chased all the way. With the help of auxiliary systems, after struggling for more than 10 years, he was ambushed and beaten to death. Fortunately, with the one-time concealment function of the auxiliary system, it takes him back more than 10 years. At the age of 20, one is about to embark on that life-changing adventure. In the 3rd minute of his rebirth, Wang Dong basically accepted this fact. Destiny is so loving and hateful, because she, who always conceals herself, will suddenly give you the greatest surprise in the most critical moments. In the previous second, I was still experiencing the feeling of dying in the fragmented battleship, but in the next second, I became bathed in a rusty breeze, enjoying the heavy feeling of my feet firmly stepping on the planet's surface. Brother Wang Dong, have you chosen a good spaceship? Once it's ready, hurry up and get to work. There are still people lining up behind us. The administrator with a scruffy beard smiled and urged. For mining companies, high-quality miners like Wang Dong who are not causing trouble and have good benefits are quite popular trading partners, so they naturally offer more preferential treatment. If it were other miners dragging around like this, choosing to rent a spaceship would take a full 10 minutes, and they would have been spit on by the fierce roar. How could they be so gentle? For decades, auxiliary systems have become an integral part of Wang Dong's life. According to the data permanently displayed in the upper right corner of the field of view, Wang Dong selected the one with the best condition among the dozens of mining spacecraft on the spaceship Anchorage. Compared to other spacecraft, the hull of this minecraft too represents a green state of good condition in Wang Dong's auxiliary field of view. Additionally, there is an overall evaluation value. F. Class Near Space Mining Spacecraft Status 91% No growth potential. The Quanbot Type 2 Near Space Mining Spacecraft is an old model that has been around for over 100 years, but here, it is considered a first-class good product. The streamlined body, which is rare in close-range mining spacecraft, makes it appear particularly elegant. The F.level evaluation means that it belongs to the non-inflow level in the near-space mining spacecraft. But compared to the mining planet in this remote star region, it is actually quite good. Could you please grant me permission for this mining boss type 2? Wang Dong smiled and said. Okay. Administrator Zhou Laosan opened the portable optical brain on his wrist, decisively selected the mining boss type 2 pointed to by Wang Dong from the list, and then collided with Wang Dong's portable optical brain to complete the authorization. Wang Dong calmly exhaled from the login interface of the spacecraft and, with the help of the traction beam, skillfully entered the cockpit of the spacecraft. Just like before. Even though he has actually been in contact with this old mining spaceship for over a decade. Don't ask, asking is strength. It's not that difficult to regain the muscle memory of the body. The 53-meter-long hull of the ship, driven by 4 high-power industrial heavy particle engine nozzles, easily left the berth and rocked upwards. Until it bursts out of the planet's atmosphere and enters the universe. Adjusting the automatic navigation route, Wang Dong breathed a sigh of relief. Until now, when Wang Dong regained his composure in the vast and cold universe, he truly and slightly calmed his nerves. Reborn too quickly, he still needs to let his thoughts fly for a while. This is planet KQ.03, the only habitable planet in the Black Stone Barren territory. Wang Dong lived here for a full 20 years in his previous life. Looking back, I realized that I still didn't understand it enough. Before his rebirth, Wang Dong was aware of its orbital period, self-propagation period, and even its orbit, as well as the asteroid belt mining area near it, which contains abundant mineral species. He also knew that there were 13 million people living on KQ.03, with 3 mining companies settling in, and there was a relatively complete primary metallurgical industry system on the planet. The person with the greatest power is the consul appointed by the Baron, who is stationed in a convoy of 12 warships. Except for the above information. At that time, Wang Dong was unaware that among the various factions on KQ.03, the loudest talker was the Air Shark Chamber of Commerce, the most skilled in business was the Tianhu Caravan, and the most informed was the Emerald Bird Guild. Without knowing anything about these, even subconsciously covering up the later adventures. Unexpectedly, the so-called concealment not only exposed the red fruit in the eyes of those with intentions, but also became a clue for tracing, as well as some kind of intelligence commodity, sold everywhere. It's no wonder Wang Dong, who lived in his previous life, ended up in that kind of fate. Call out the auxiliary system. Wang's mind moved and a familiar blue interface appeared in his mind. Battleship Game Assistance System Resident Function 1. Scan Permanent Function 2. High-Speed Human-Machine Data Interaction, cannot be used, Option 1. Heterogeneous Signal Capture, cannot be used, Optional Function 2. Module Growth Value Doubled, unavailable, Optional Function 3. Self-Selection of Module Characteristics, unavailable, Advanced Function 1. Double the Source Point Acquisition, cannot be used, Advanced Function 2. Relieve the level restriction of alien space civilization, cannot be used. The auxiliary system has many functions, but currently the only one that can be used normally is scanning. This permanent function allows Wang Dong to identify the quality and status of the spacecraft and onboard modules within his visual range. At the moment of rebirth, Wang Dong was relying on this permanent function to identify the best condition among the mining spacecraft that had undergone regular maintenance and repair in the parking space. This is also the greatest capital that Wang Dong relied on to become an excellent miner and accumulate his first bucket of gold in his past life. Every time a spaceship is selected, its condition is better than others. As long as the technology is qualified, the harvest is naturally not inferior. Except for this permanent feature 1, it is not available below. The display is, cannot be used. Unlike his previous ignorance, Wang Dong now knows that the main functions of this warship game assistance system can only be fully realized after having the appropriate warship. Its functions are very practical and powerful. The only regret is that the threshold for use is a bit high. A warship is basically an unattainable dream for the ordinary common class, such as the current Wang Dong. The system is unscathed, seemingly identical to before Rebirth. But Wang Dong is clear that there are still some differences. The only hidden function of the system is to provide a relatively short time retrospective. Wang Dong has already consumed the only opportunity this time. This is the information provided by the system after Rebirth. Fortunately, the timing of Rebirth is just right. All regrets have not yet happened. Wang Dong has a real chance to start over. In the past life, after crossing into such an interstellar era where human civilization roamed the sky, coupled with a system like Golden Finger exclusive to the protagonist, Wang Dong is happy and full of ambition. I am born with a natural talent that is always useful, let alone a traveler with a golden finger, who is not born to do great things. The realization of self-worth is just a drop in the bucket, without making any contribution to the entire human civilization. It's only true that people feel embarrassed to greet others. Unfortunately, reality always hits your face hard like ice rain. Until I turn you into a pig's head and have to face the bleak life. Wang Dong in this lifetime dare not be so naive anymore. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good.